Did post an Instagram story later in the day saying, "I'm good, y'all, nothing serious." But either way, it's worth keeping an eye on. Mina, like, we're back. How important is Chop Robinson to this Dolphins defense? We're hoping he's okay, but still, it's worth reminding people.
Really important for a couple of reasons. One, the player I thought was exceptional as a rookie. 11th in ESPN's pass rush win rate amongst edges, which really reflects his unbelievable get off. He's so fast. That first step, it looked exactly like it did in college. And he's part of a pass rush with Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips coming off the injuries that is not only very good, has to be very good, because this Dolphins secondary, a lot of question marks, a lot of holes. So they need those pass rushers to get home for that defense to have a chance. Need Chop Robinson on the field to be part of that.
I feel like the Dolphins are so complicated to talk about because the elephant in the room is that, yes, the offense took a step back because Tua wasn't out there. He hadn't been healthy, but there's more to it than that, right? So what is the formula to get them back on track, Mike?
Yeah, I think it's pretty simple. Get the ball down the field. And Tua, when he starts and finishes, guys, 38 and 24. And the key to me is going to be their two tackles. So Patrick Paul, last year's second-round pick, and Austin Jackson, their pass block win rate last year, neither would have been in the top 40. But if they could protect for Tua, we know what he can do with a healthy Jalen Waddle and the aforementioned Tyreek Hill. So to me, get the ball down the field, be a little bit more explosive. I thought they were a little bit too much underneath last year. Davon A-Chain, obviously very explosive out of the backfield as well. But get back to downfield passing. That's been when they've been the most successful.
Tua's average depth of target last year was 36th amongst quarterbacks. Yep. And I was watching that wondering how much of this is a philosophical change. Jonnu Smith was such an important part of that offense. Screens to Davon A-Chain were another big part of it. How much of it was them not trusting the pass protection to even hold up? He's got such a quick release, but still. And maybe the quarterback himself not wanting to push the ball downfield, but I'm in total agreement with you. For this offense to approach anything close to what it was a couple of years ago, he has to start throwing downfield more.
There are two things that I'm very excited to see in the near future. One of them is at 7 o'clock. I want to see Taylor Swift talk to the Kelsey brothers. The second thing is, what the heck is the Miami Dolphins 2025 season going to look like? Because it can go one of two directions. It could be lightning bolts and everyone, we're all in, we're galvanized. The haters are going to hate. It's us against the world. We don't need Jalen Ramsey. Terran Armstead, we're good, we're fine. Let's do it. We've got the guys, we've got the weapons, and we've got the coaching staff. Or it could be what a lot of people are cautiously raising their eyebrows at, with quotes from Tua to start camp about how he and Tyreek really have to still hash things out. Quotes from Tyreek from week 18 still lingering. Quotes from Tyreek where he's questioning some of the play calls in practice, and then Mike McDaniel has to correct that. None of it seems great coming out of Miami right now. But I have been doing this long enough where you wait for the regular season. They play Indianapolis week 1. This could be the same offense that put up 70 points 2 years ago on the Broncos defense. Or it could be a great disappointment, and we're looking at ourselves in January saying, what happened? Maybe they got to redo this whole thing and start over.
I realize it's hard to fully predict this right now, but based on the analytics, ESPN's analytics, the Dolphins have the third easiest schedule in the AFC. That could help a little bit. The problems have occurred in December, though, usually. But all right, still ahead. The Eagles are dealing with multiple injuries on the interior of their offensive line. Hear why Mina thinks they need to get healthy quickly. There could be some trouble in Philly. She'll explain that. That's funny. It says get well soon on the screen. We should send him a card. Hope you guys are okay. He's taken some big strides, and it led to a Super Bowl last season. Compared to his first 4 seasons, his total QBR increased. His touchdown to interception ratio almost doubled, and his completion percentage over expectation rose to over 6%. The Eagles, like most NFL teams, rise and fall with the performance of the guy under center. Here's Seth Wickersham on how Jalen Hurts and other quarterbacks find an illusion of control among chaos.
Hurts goes back. He is launching it deep downfield, and it bounces. And the seconds are gone. And the Kansas City Chiefs have won another Super Bowl.
In the lead up to Super Bowl 59, there was a question hovering over Jalen Hurts. Could he do it? Could he make the throws when it mattered most?
He fires. He completes it. Touchdown!
Could he not just match the moment, but rise above it and maybe redefine it, make it his own?
Ain't none of this the promise. So what the you gonna do with your mama right now? What you gonna do with your mama right now?
Professional football teams are almost reverse engineered to support their most valuable players, from scheme to psychology. But at some point, Quarterbacks are alone with a question. Can I do it? You won't know it until you do it, and just because you do it once or twice or for 12 years, it buys you nothing. It is no assurance that you'll come through the next time. Just look at Tom Brady. He took a nap before his first Super Bowl. He didn't know better. He didn't know what it might feel like to lose on the biggest stage. He was too innocent. By his last Super Bowl, as a champion many times over, he was nearly sleepless the night before the game, trying to quiet doubts and convince himself that yet again he was worthy of the label, the greatest.
Let's go! Turn this up!
Enter Jalen Hurts. He is not just one of the smartest and savviest quarterbacks in the NFL, a star who remarkably seems to read the room as well as he reads defenses.
Hurts keeps fighting for the end zone. What a run!
There is no stage too big for Jalen Hurts.
When he speaks, he sounds like a Zen philosopher, like the outer reaches of his performance are directly tied to the conservative spirit of his sound bites.
What is your mission? Why are you doing this? I'm doing it to win.
The Philadelphia Eagles have won Super Bowl 59.
To win at the level he's now won at, Hurts had to rely on something more than skill set or work ethic or even hunger. He had to make a world, one in which the qualities he brought to the game, if mastered, were not lacking something, but were more than enough if taken to their limits. Hurts dove into his mechanics, trying to be more fluid with his motion and quicker from read to release. He focused on leadership techniques, saying his approach was something he had never had a label for. He hired an all-women management team at Clutch Sports Group and completed his master's degree from Oklahoma in 2023.
He is going deep, and it is caught. Touchdown!
He did something almost as difficult as making the impossible throw at the highest leverage moment. He bet on the story he told himself about himself.
Woo. Okay, the voice you just heard, Seth Wickersham, joining us now. Seth, that was an essay from your book, American Kings, a biography of the quarterback. I can't wait to read it. It will be released in September. Why is that illusion of control that you talked about there and so eloquently illustrated, why is that so important for a quarterback?
Well, okay, so one of the most interesting things that I learned, one of the most fascinating things I learned in the process of trying to amass as much knowledge as I humanly could about quarterbacks is how much two very basic emotions, fear and pressure, affect them. And we think that they don't. We think that, like they say, hey, we ignore the noise, but they're very real. And I think that how quarterbacks choose to handle those things, fear, pressure, doubt, is unbelievably interesting. Like, I talked to Joe Burrow about it, and he talked about what he needs to do from a mental standpoint to get to the point where when he walks on the field, there are no doubts in his mind. And it's borderline sociopathic. And I found it interesting that that's the world that they have to live in because, even though we talk about all the throws and the reads and all of these things, they are left alone wondering if they can do it. And the questions that we often ask from the outside, more than they want to admit, are the same ones that they're asking on the inside.
It's such a fascinating peel back of the curtain. Mike T, Jalen Hurts coming off winning a Super Bowl. What do you think this year looks like for Jalen Hurts as he continues to build on that success? Because there's still, the fascinating thing, he could be the Super Bowl MVP. There's still some things that could get better.
Yeah, their passing attack could get a lot better. If we were opposing the Philadelphia Eagles, I think job 1, 2, and 3 would be stop Saquon Barkley. And you look at it a year ago, they were 29th in passing yards per game. He was sacked too many times. And Jalen Hurts is one of my favorite players for a lot of reasons Seth talked about, but he came out in the second round, the expression tape sets the floor and character sets the ceiling. His first year, his completion percentage was 52%. It went up to 68%. He led the NFL last year in completions above expectations, meaning he took a weakness and made it a strength. And now what they have to do is take that floor and say, hey, you know what? If they want to take Saquon Barkley and go 8-man spacing, I could beat you with my arm. And if they do that, literally, they will be unstoppable.
Yeah, Peter, something we've always mentioned when talking about the success of this Eagles offense is their offensive line. Now they're dealing with injuries, right? The injury to Landon Dickerson. How concerned are you about this Eagles O-line unit?
Look, we talk about Jeff Stoutland a lot, who's universally considered the best offensive line coach. And we know Sal Powell was on the morning show Get Up today talking about Stoutland U, how it's next man up, and they love Steen. The truth of the matter is Landon Dickerson's a Pro Bowler. He's probably the best at what he does. And then you also lose Mekhi Becton, and now you're 2 years removed from losing Jason Kelsey. Is it next? There are reasons to at least wonder. That said, this is the team that can handle that stuff. And last year they had 28 different offensive line combinations over the course of the season. Seth was talking about Jalen Hurts' his ability to overcome fear and doubt. What amazes me about the Eagles is their ability to adapt to injuries and find the next person to step up. I'm not going to say I have no doubt, but if there's any team that's equipped to handle with a major blow during the August month, it is them.
Yeah, I think I would say it mildly concerns me because, as Peter alluded to, you have a lot of change in one place, right? The only change in this entire Eagles offense is Mekhi Becton leaving, being replaced by Tyler Steen. But now you potentially have another change of Landon Dickerson. And when those injuries start to pile up, Mike, you know this, in the same position group, that's when you start to get a little nervous. It also concerns me for Hurts in particular, because if I had to point to one thing that I feel like he struggles with at times, it is interior pressure when he gets flushed out of the pocket. I think he's gotten a lot better at that. As Seth described, he's gotten better every year in the NFL. It's, I think, maybe one of his most impressive attributes. But if the Eagles go into this season with, new players on the interior of the offensive line, they face a challenging pass rush up the middle, I would get a little bit worried about how he handles that.
Yeah, I mean, Seth, you could speak to this. He loves a challenge, doesn't he? Jalen Hurts in his own way.
I think that one of the things that's interesting to me about him is just that he's not a great quarterback all the time. And yet he has proven that he can raise his level of play to a gear that's very, very rare. But that's, as we've learned, just because you do it once doesn't mean that you have the internal reassurance that you can do it again.
I mean, how crazy is it that probably the two best games of his NFL career are Super Bowl? What kind of mental makeup? I mean, obviously what you write about.
He did something similar even in college, too. It was like no matter what the moment was, the bigger it got, the better he was. By the way, Seth Wickersham's American Kings, a biography of the quarterback, is available for pre-order now wherever books are sold. Don't miss it. That's what the cover looks like, and it's going to be fascinating. You just heard a little preview that you can't get anywhere else, but grab the book. All right, coming up, preseason is testing NFL quarterbacks. Love, Stafford, Richardson, they're all dealing with injuries before the season even kicks off. Our analysts are going to talk about how panicked they are about injuries next. They may not be panicked. We're going to press the panic button. We'll be right back.
Come visit McDonald Land this summer and try Grimace Island's newest thick volcanic